What is up, everybody? My name is Joe Morgan, and I am going to be at the helm for this week's Ask GUG. I'll give you a little bit of backstory on myself first. I'm a staff writer for Geeks Under Grace. I also do a little bit of public relations work dealing with developers and publishers, and I am a live streamer. You can find me streaming Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, usually 8 to 10 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/Joe Knoweth Games, and I'll try to insert a link down here, or at least give you the text here so that you can go visit that. I would love to have you. We've got a group of several GUGers. I want to say Guggers. I don't know why. Seems to be a little bit of internal debate going on there, but we've got a group of several Guggers that pop in the stream usually when I'm live. We'll sit around and goof around while I play games and just chit chat and have a good time, get to know one another. So I would encourage you to pop over, give me a follow. Also be sure to follow Drew, who I believe is 9mm Preacher. I'll have to verify that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with your questions for the week. We got a few in here and there. So let's start over here. Imperial or Stormcloak? And of course that's referring to Skyrim, for those of you that didn't know. Of course I've got to go with the Stormcloak. I'll fight beside the Nords any day. You know, the scrappy Nords that with hit and run tactics. We've got to take down the man. Take down the man. Let's see, what do we got next? Middle Earth or Narnia? Okay, well, I guess that depends on whether you're saying both of the worlds. I like them both. Narnia, of course, you know, you got Reepicheep and the Pevensies, and it's a grand adventure full of nobility. Chronicles of Narnia is the first movie, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Of course, it's based after a book series, if you weren't aware. But the scene in the first movie where, I don't want to give anything away, but it's a big point in the book, but the stone table. I cannot watch that scene without bawling my eyes out like a little kid. The allegory, the one-to-one that C.S. Lewis is trying to make to our faith ties in super strong there, and for that I like all of the Narnia books, but I'm a big fan of Middle-earth too. Of course, by the time you're watching this, Battle of Five Armies is just come out in theaters, and I'm super stoked to see that. That's going to be a lot of fun. When they first came out and said, "Oh, we're doing 3 Hobbit books, three Hobbit movies." I'm sorry. They came out and said, "We're going to do 3 movies out of the Hobbit book." I thought, that's ridiculous. I read that book when I was in like 7th grade. Why would you turn that into 3 movies? But it's turned out to be a good decision, and I'm really excited for it. Okay, moving along. Boxers or briefs? Depends. Let's keep chugging. Okay, let's get to some other questions. Favorite console and game on that console? I've been around games practically my entire life. I started with the NES, and it's hard for me to pick a single console because my life has been filled with them from a young age. So it might actually be easier for me to pick favorite games on the consoles I've owned. For the NES, I would have to go with Contra. The original Contra. That game is so good. If I had an NES on hand, I would have that in a heartbeat in my hands, playing it right now. I love that game. And that game takes me back to my childhood. My dad, my brother, my uncles, we all played Contra together growing up. It was just a blast. I had a Sega Genesis. I was a Genesis kid. And Sonic 2 was still, that was the pack-in and the box, and I probably owned 35 games for that system. over the course of its lifespan. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 still was my favorite. I just can't even think of anything else come close. Streets of Rage 2, but I still like Sonic better. Let's see. PlayStation 1 would be the next thing I owned in line. I'm going to say either Final Fantasy 9 Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, or Legend of Dragoon. If you've never played Legend of Dragoon, that is a really cool, it's a turn-based RPG, but it's got a real-time mechanic in it. And it was the first RPG I'd ever played that wasn't turn-based totally, because you've got the active time system with Final Fantasy games, but you actually have to time your strikes to build your combos up with Legend of Dragoon, and I just thought that was fantastic. Love that game. PlayStation 2, now stuff starts getting a little muddier. Final Fantasy 12, that's probably going to get some people riled up. I know a lot of people that would argue 10 is a better game. I haven't played through, I'm a little ridiculous. I own just shy of every RPG on the PlayStation 2, but I haven't played most of them. And I know people will say, the Tales games are good, Star Ocean's good. There are over 100 of them. There are plenty to pick from. Final Fantasy 12 was my favorite Final Fantasy on that era, so I think that's what I'm going to have to go with there. I didn't have an Xbox, but I did get an Xbox 360, and the original BioShock might actually be one of my favorite games for that system. The key turning point in that story, man, so good. If you don't know it now, you should go play that game. So good. I love BioShock. But my favorite game of all time is on the PlayStation 3, and it's now on the PlayStation 4 as well. The Last of Us. If you haven't played The Last of Us, if you're not 17, wait. It's worth waiting for. It's okay. It'll still be there when you turn 17. But wait, that is a mature rated game. It's got a lot of adult content, language, violence, and gore. But that is one of the best told stories in any game I've ever played. I love it. Actually, and now that we're on to the current gen consoles, I've put probably 250 hours into Destiny on the Xbox One with my friends. But I'm playing through Dragon Age Inquisition on my PlayStation 4 right now. I tend to use my consoles differently. My Xbox One gets all my multiplayer games because that's where all my friends are at. My PlayStation 4 gets all my single-player content with the exception of what I'm playing on the Wii U, which is right now Captain Toad and Smash and Hyrule Warriors. So I tried to do a little bit of everything. The idea of fanboyism drives me insane. And I didn't mention PC games here. There are so many PC games over the years. I couldn't pick a PC game that was my favorite. I've poured so many hours into so many RTSs, RPGs, first-person shooters. It's bananas. But don't be a fanboy. Please don't be a fanboy. And don't be one of those people that tells everybody else that they're stupid because they are a fan of a different game console. We're all gamers. We all like to play games. Let that be a bond that ties. Don't let that be something that tears other people down. Use that as a tool for the kingdom. You can always get in there and, hey man, what do you like to play? Oh, I like to play Halo. Cool. Awesome. I've played Halo. I like Halo. I like Call of Duty more. That's not true. I like first-person shooters in general. But I'm just saying, use that as a tool. Use that as a ministry tool. All right, let's press on. Sorry that took so long. We kind of stuck around there for a while. All right. What is the most challenging aspect of Joe Knoweth Games? And Joe Knoweth Games, of course, is my Twitch channel. The most challenging aspect, it's probably sticking to a schedule. Especially, life happens. I've got a full-time job where I work sometimes over 40 hours a week, um, sometimes as many as almost 50 hours a week. And in crunch times, it can get even crazier than that. So, sometimes there's a little bit of burnout on occasion. People don't pop in for a couple of days. Things get a little bit of a lull. It's hard to maintain a schedule. And even, I try to stream at least 2, maybe 3 nights a week. If I'm in a really good mood, I might go several nights a week. But um, I'll tell you what, folks, if I get up to 200 legitimate followers by New Year's, I'll try to make a concrete schedule and stick to it. One of the other things that's difficult for me in terms of live streaming, I've said this in the past to a few different folks. I try to use it almost as a sort of outreach, because people will jump in and watch a live stream, of you playing. Right now I'm playing through Kingdom Hearts HD Remix, and so people will pop in and watch me play some Kingdom Hearts or whatever, and it's a chance for me to talk to them about who I am, what I believe, what I represent. Geeks Under Grace, tell them about Geeks Under Grace, and so I want to use it as a ministry, but that makes it even tougher for me when I don't stick with my schedule, because then not only am I failing just this personal thing I do on the side, I'm failing in a form of ministry for myself as well. And so I try to be consistent with it, but it is difficult and life gets in the way sometimes. And, you got to have downtime away from everything too. So that's probably the most difficult thing about Joe Know with games. Why don't you stream scary games? I hate scary games. That's why I don't stream them. I accepted donations a couple months ago for the Extra Life 2014 24-hour video game marathon to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And all the money that I raised went to the Arkansas Children's Hospital in Little Rock, because I live in Arkansas. And as a part of that, I promised that whoever donated $100 first got to pick a scary game for me to stream. And a coworker met that goal, and at midnight of the stream, I turned off all the lights, and I played a horror game for about 2 hours to keep my word. And unless something just totally snaps in my head or I'm doing it for a good cause, you'll never see me play a scary game on my stream, because I would much rather play something that's funny or bright and vibrant and rewarding those brain, those neurons that fire off in my head. One of the questions that came in was, what kind of software do you work on? And I can't say a whole lot about it, but what I can tell you is I work for a national logistics company writing logistics software. So kind of helping from start to finish everything about the business, how to help get things from A to B and all the steps in between. And I've been with that company for, goodness, going on 8 years now. I'm getting up there. I will be 30 this time in a month. So I'm one of the older guys on staff. I like to say, I'm not totally sure that's accurate. We've got quite a big staff, but that's what I do by day. I write logistics software. But I got into this field because of video games. I started in high school, playing games my whole life, and we had a single programming class in my high school, and I thought, man, that'd be awesome. Let's do it. So me and several of my buddies all signed up for the class. We went through the class. It was basic C++ programming. Had a blast going through that class, and we actually finished the class off by writing a simple text-based game. My brother wrote Chutes and Ladders. I wrote a wheelbarrow gambling game, because at the time it was easy just to generate random numbers and watch them tick, 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 race along the track there. Don't shun me. But video games have basically been integral into everything since I was a kid. It's a big part of who I am, and because of that, I'm now with Geeks Under Grace. I've written for several websites over the last few years, and nothing like Geeks Under Grace has been available to me, and I've latched on here. I love it here. I love the community and the interaction with the community. And I hope that that maintains and grows. I hope you guys tell everybody else about what's going on with Geeks Under Grace. Hey, you guys go check out this site. You know, the people there are awesome. They listen to you, and they'll give you feedback, and they write good stuff, and they produce awesome videos and all of that sort of thing. So I don't want to keep droning on. This has gone on 15, 16 minutes. So we'll start wrapping it up. Those are all of my questions for the week. But I want to encourage you guys, send in your questions. Leave comments below. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Knows Games, or you can follow me on Twitch at Joe Knoweth Games. And be sure to send more questions in either on our Facebook groups, which I believe we'll probably have links for in the description of the video, or you can send them into, let's see, sorry, give me just a moment, questionGUG at gmail.com. Thanks for your time, folks. Thanks for sending in those questions. Go forth and game.